I think I have a pretty good memory, even for small things that most people forget. I always say that I've lived many lives because honestly, I kind of have. I moved so many times and lived in different countries like Mexico, the United States, and now France, and I feel like each place has shaped a different version of me. Growing up, my life was always changing, and I lived with my parents when they were married, then when they were separated, also their divorce, and then later with their new partners. Every stage felt like starting over a new dynamic, new people, and new routines, and it wasn't always easy, but it taught me how to adapt fast and understand people better. Some important events that really stuck with me were my school graduations. I remember graduating from elementary school in Mexico, and I felt so proud walking across the stage in my little uniform. Then graduating from middle school felt like I was growing up for real. And then when I graduated from high school, it was extra emotional because to me, I had gone through so many changes by then, and I still made it. When I was little, I used to be super into school competitions, and I would sign up for poetry contests, reading marathons, spelling bees, or anything that sounded like a challenge. I loved that feeling of preparing and standing in front of people and showing them what I could do. And I was also a dancer. I danced ballet throughout most of my life, well, at least when I was a kid. But at the same time, on the weekends, I was living a whole different life because I had to travel to another state in Mexico to see my dad. So that was like switching between two worlds. One where I was like focused, high achieving, and just overall a very good student. And another one where I was just a kid spending time with my dad. When I was a child, I had different goals. When I was around 4, I remember that I used to say that I wanted to be a superhero. So that gets me made fun of even to this day. And then when I was like around 10, that's when I decided that I wanted to be an engineer because of my dad, since he's an engineer too. But I think overall I had a very wild imagination. And I also dreamed about having a very big house with a lot of pets. I imagined adult life as something very fun and free without rules or school, but now I realize that being an adult means a lot of responsibility, and it's not exactly what I expected, but it's still interesting in different ways. To be honest, it's not exactly like I imagined. Adult life is definitely more complicated than I thought since there's a lot more responsibility and pressure. But it's not bad either, it's just different. I've learned a lot, and even though it's not the fantasy I had as a kid, it's still meaningful. I think I'm kind of living my childhood dream when it comes to my career because, as I said, I wanted to be an engineer. So I'm proud of how far I've come and everything I've experienced, even if everything is not perfect. It's actually very different from what I imagined when I was younger. Back then, I thought everything would be easier when I grew up. Like, I just know what to do all the time. But now I see that life is way more complicated and things don't always go as planned. Still, I've changed a lot and my way of thinking is more realistic now. Even though things are different, I try to keep a part of that childhood imagination and creativity with me. So far, I've achieved some cool things. I've improved my English, my French too, done well in school, helped people around me, and learned to be more independent. And I've also grown more confident in myself. There are still things I want to do. I'd love to travel to another continent because I've never been to Asia. I want to get my master's degree, hopefully, or another degree, and maybe start my own business one day. Recently, I've been studying a lot, trying to be more organized and learning new skills. I've also been focusing a lot on my mental health and trying to stay positive. Would I say I have a successful life? I think I'm on the way there. I mean, it's up for debate, but given that I've achieved a lot of the things that I always dreamed of, I think I do. I'm still learning, growing, and working towards my goals, and that already feels like a success to me.